Well, I have secondary lymphedema, and that's because I had a radical hysterectomy in 1995. I had spotting, and I went along to the doctor, and she said, "Well, we'll do a test," and the test came back cancer cells. They felt that it was. I was living in Papua New Guinea at the time, and of course. You're away from everything else, and I had to travel to Cairns where they did a cone biopsy, and the results came back a 6 millimetre tumour in the cervix, and that doctor there, the oncologist, performed a cone biopsy, and after that he said that I would have to go to Brisbane to have a radical hysterectomy. So I went to Brisbane, had a radical hysterectomy, and the surgeon did say that they had removed 44 lymph nodes, and at that time, of course, they didn't have the centre node biopsy available, and so that's what happened to me. And 6 months later, my left leg began to swell in various around the ankle because I was working in quite a physical type of work and very busy, and on my legs and feet a lot of the day, and that's what happened. When my leg began to swell, we didn't know what it was, so I rang down to the oncologist, and he said, take less salt. And then I didn't feel that that was a good enough answer, so then I rang the surgeon, and he said buy off-the-shelf stockings, which I did because you don't know what else to do. But over time my leg began to grow in size, and I felt that that wasn't correct either. I went to see a general GP in Port Moresby, and he gave me some, I think it's diuretics, is it? And I felt that that wasn't right, and I didn't take those because I didn't think that that was correct either. So in the end, I self-diagnosed by going onto the internet, where we were able to access an American website that spoke about lymphedema. Now, I wasn't sure if that's what I had, but it sounded a lot like it. And so then I just couldn't run away from business. That's where our life and business was, and it did say on the website at that time that there were certain drugs that you could take, but they said that they could be available and that would help reduce the size and that you could have complex therapy. But being a layperson, I really didn't understand the complexity of it all. Anyway, when we came to Sydney, back down to Sydney 10 years ago, I went off to Westmead Hospital, and they had a look at me and they said, yes, you do have lymphedema. At Westmead Hospital, they were very good, and they did give me the complex therapy treatment with massage and bandaging and explaining a lot. But because it's a public hospital, after your first lot of bandaging and stockings, they can't really do much more for you. And so a few years later, my leg began to creep up again, because it's very difficult to try and manage all of this on your own when you don't know that much about it and no education. So one of the therapists there suggested that I come to Mount Wilga. And so now I've been coming to Mount Wilga for 10 years and regularly having my treatment and having stockings made specifically for me from Germany. And I really do appreciate it and really do need them. But along the way, of course, it takes a lot of expertise to measure and measure your garment correctly for you, because everybody's limb is different and you need different specifications, and I suppose the lymphedema affects everybody differently as to the strength of the garment. And I'm currently wearing the Elvirix stockings for the left and the right leg. My left leg is the bad leg, and it has compromised my good leg. So I found that a few years later, I had to also wear a garment for my right leg. Now, both garments are different in strength. The left leg has a 40 foot but 60 leg, quite strong in strength, and the right leg has also a 40 foot and a 50 in strength in the leg. And that's because I have my tendons are quite pronounced, and I find that the stocking with the compression around the ankle can be quite sore and painful from time to time, although now that we've managed to measure correctly and the strength is less, it's a lot better, and I'm able to cope and manage that way. In the very beginning, when my leg was quite large, I was quite restricted. The left leg was quite heavy, and it was difficult to walk at times to keep up with just the general pace that other people were walking, and it was very heavy, and I found that I couldn't run, I couldn't lift the legs so well because the ankle had become quite swollen and quite large. Mentally, I felt self-conscious about having a huge limb, but mostly it restricted my movements, and that was also affecting me mentally as well. And so then when I came to Mount Wilga and the leg was reduced quite a bit and the ankle almost back to normal, I was very, very happy and very, very thankful, because I found I could walk at a brisk pace. You can't ever lose, because my leg is still a little bit huge and quite larger than the left leg. I prefer not to wear dresses or skirts because I still feel self-conscious. For the future, it's ongoing for me. It will never, it's a lifetime that you have to continue your therapy and treatment. If you don't, then it's only going to be so much more difficult in your older age. And to be mobile is very, very important, and for your health and well-being. So for me, it will be ongoing, and I must keep up my massage and my walking every day. I walk 45 minutes every day. I do massage on my tummy. I think I wasn't sure whether my tummy was bloated because I'm getting older or I'm eating too much, but I think at times it does seem a little bit more bloated than perhaps it should be. But I do self-massage, always, every night, religiously massage, and to drain the lymph nodes, and I am a good girl in that way. And I wear my stockings religiously, and I do need to come and have my size of my legs reduced, because over time, a period of 6 months more, they gradually begin to creep up no matter what you do. So it's actually ongoing. My advice would be always to have your treatments. Keep it up. Don't think that you've had one, you'll miss a year and you'll come back the next year. I always find that it keeps it well maintained and well controlled to continue your complex therapies. It's very important to me because it keeps me mobile. I would say that. I find when I talk to lots of people, they say, oh, well, it's such a long way to come, or finding time, but really it's something you have to set time aside for.